This TFMR podcast is brought to you by your friends at JM Bullion. Visit jmbullion.com for all your gold and silver bullion needs. Welcome back to the TF Metals Report podcast highlights for the week of September 6th, 2021. When we last left you back on Friday, September 3rd, things looked really good for the precious metals after a really dreadful U.S. jobs report on September 3rd. Unfortunately, the bottom dropped out again this week. That's the fifth time that has happened to gold since November of last year, just when we looked like we were ready to roll higher, just when it looked like we were ready to break out. The bottom drops out through paper contract selling on Tuesday. 1.5 million ounces, 15,000 contracts were dumped in about 3 minutes. That's about 46 metric tons, not of real gold, but of paper gold. And that's how price gets influenced to drop lower. Tuesday, however, also saw a big drop in Bitcoin. So we talk about Bitcoin at TF Metals Report too, and we certainly noticed that drop coming on the heels of major news. El Salvador announcing they're going to be adopting Bitcoin and using it nationally. This is huge news. The first sovereign nation to adopt the use of Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin, which now also has futures contracts and forward derivatives, Bitcoin got smashed on Tuesday with the news. You can see that chart right here on this page if you're watching this on YouTube. And again, absolutely related. Anything that's a threat to the central banks, whether it's gold or now Bitcoin. And if there's good news, they're going to try to attempt to keep your eyes off it, make the dollar look better, and smash it lower. That's exactly what happened on Tuesday, and that was a topic of discussion that day at TFMR. Did you see Bitcoin today? That's the first chart on this page. Bitcoin finally coming back from 30,000. Goes up, can't seem to get through 48,000. It's clearly being capped at 48,000 for almost a month. Finally moves up through 50, gets smashed back to 48. Moves back up to 50 and extends to 52 last night. And what was the news? Because El Salvador finally began purchasing the Bitcoin that they want so that as a sovereign nation, they can use Bitcoin instead of dollars. And then what happened on the news? Bitcoin went down $4,000 in one 5-minute period today. A 10% drop in 5 minutes. Right now it's down $5,000, though at one point it was down $6,000, which is like 12%, 13%. Why today? Why today? Just like gold. Why does gold keep getting smashed every time it looks to break out? Because gold's a threat, and the bankers need it to cover all their unallocated positions, and obviously Bitcoin is a threat too. God, oh my God, here's a sovereign nation moving away from dollars into something else. How long is it going to take before there's a CIA-sponsored revolution in El Salvador? Suddenly there'll be some guerrillas coming out of the woodwork, not the silverback ape kind, but the guys like we saw in Nicaragua, places like that back in the day. All of a sudden, there will be civil unrest in El Salvador. There'll be people screaming for a new government and a new central bank. Remember all the people, all the countries that were on the Axis of Evil list that didn't have a central bank? Yeah, you bet your ass. They're coming for El Salvador soon. Just the simple fact that just when it looks like, wow, there's some legitimacy for Bitcoin, and bang, it goes down, 15% in a day? Yeah, you don't think that's contrived too? One of the biggest problems for gold and silver all week long was a rally in the dollar rallying and getting back above its own 50-day moving average, maybe turning, putting in a low instead of looking like it was going to break down like it did last week. That puts pressure from the computers on COMEX Digital Gold and COMEX Digital Silver, the futures contracts. So we got to watch the dollar every day, and that was part of the discussion on Wednesday, September the 8th. The dollar, of course, this is why we are down, smashed, like I said, 3% in gold, 4% in silver from the highs on Friday, because the dollar has moved 60 cents. 60 cents. And again, mainly that's just euro weakness. But that doesn't freaking matter. The algos put on their trades. The banks flush out the specs and scare them off. Keep the charts painted in a downtrend. Anyway, the key level for the rest of this week is going to be the 50-day moving average. We got above all the way up to 92.90 or so today, and then fell back to close just barely above the 50-day. It's going to be really important to see what happens tomorrow and Friday. I mean, could we extend again, start trading up above 93 to 93.40, then all we're doing is we made a higher low off the rally that began in the middle of June. But if we roll over here, then we can start making lower lows off the sell-off that began 3 weeks ago. So the next couple of days in the dollar are going to be important. Our Thursday conversation this week was with our old friend, the Golden Jackass himself, Jim Willie. Jim has been a friend of TFMR now for about a decade, and we always appreciate it when he stops by and gives us his rather unique perspective on global events. That's a free thread, of course, at TF Metals Report, so if you want to give it a listen, it's about 35 minutes long. Just go over to the site, scroll down, click the button, and click the podcast player, and you'll be good to go. Always interesting stuff from Jim Willie. And now here on Friday, we're wrapping the week in a dismal manner, just as we began the week. So much optimism last Friday, as price looked like it had broken out, not only above its 50-day moving average, but also its 100 and 200-day. But unfortunately, that rally stopped right at 1836, unable to make a new higher high. And, of course, as you know, the bottom dropped out immediately on Monday and Tuesday and had rarely any upticks all week long. And now we finished the week actually back below the 50-day moving average. So the key level to watch now as we go into next week will be 1780. If price moves below there, then it'll 1760, maybe all the way down to 1720. And we might get on the daily chart a double bottom that'll look a lot like the double bottom we had at 1680 back in March. But hopefully we won't get there, but it's something we all need to be aware of. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening to the TF Metals Report podcast highlights, and we'll do this again next week.